My child, in the stillness of this very moment, I am calling your soul into a realm of light that you have unintentionally overlooked for a long time. It is not because you were unwilling to seek it, but because life has covered your mind with layers of worry, busyness, responsibility, and the many voices of the world. Yet right now, as you are present here, I want you to know that I have bent the heavens just to draw near you, so that my words may touch the deepest part of you, the place even you yourself sometimes hesitate to look into. My beloved child, I do not come with intimidation or force. I come like a beam of light cutting through the night, gentle yet persistent, soft yet unquenchable, reminding you that your soul was never created to dwell in the shadows of fear, but to walk upon the path of peace, understanding, and a love unmatched by anything in this world. From the beginning of creation, your life has been woven from threads of providential light, and every heartbeat within you carries the imprint of eternity. You are not a random moment, nor the product of an accident. Every breath you take has always been held within my intention. When you cried for the first time, the heavens smiled. When you took your first steps, I walked beside you. When you stumbled in childhood, my hand was near. And as you grew older, as your heart learned love, learned pain, learned hope, learned disappointment, I remained there, never once taking my eyes off you, even though you are only now hearing my call clearly. I have spoken to you for a long time, not through thunder or fierce wind, but through small things, a fleeting sense of peace in the middle of a storm, a sudden hope though nothing around you had changed, a warmth in your heart whenever you whispered my name. That was me, always me, even when you did not recognize it. I know there are moments when you ask why life feels so heavy, why things you never wished for find their way to you. Why does your heart sometimes feel as if it cannot bear another wound? You look back on your journey and wonder where you lost your way. But my child, you are not lost. You have never stepped outside my sight. Even when you fall into the deepest places of fear, I am there. Even when you force a smile to hide the exhaustion no one seems to understand, I know. I see when you try to appear strong though your soul is trembling within. I hear the sighs you cannot put into words. I understand the loneliness you are hesitant to confess because you fear being misunderstood or judged. And none of these things diminish your worth. In fact, they make you even more precious, because they reveal how deeply you need me and how your soul longs for a shelter greater than anything the world can offer. I want you to open your heart to what I am about to say, not to frighten you, but to help you understand the value of becoming awake. The world is full of things that can drain your spirit: pressure, comparison, judgment, words that wound, silent disappointments, days of effort that still show no breakthrough. All this weariness gathers over time, becoming an invisible burden, and those emotional weights eventually turn into physical weakness. Often, what breaks a person is not a great tragedy, but the small heaviness that falls on the heart every day without being noticed. Know this, your peace matters to me more than anything. I created your body wonderfully, each cell able to repair itself, each breath a gift, each vessel carrying the flow of life. Your body is not merely a shell for your soul, but a temple I entrusted to you so you may walk upon the earth. Yet when your mind is filled with negativity, when your heart carries bitterness, envy, anger, or disappointment, your body begins to cry out for help. Weariness does not arrive in a single day. It arrives from forgetting yourself for too long, And I, the one who loves you without limit, do not want that to continue. Your soul was created for light, but that light only rises when you learn to hear me. Trust me, and open yourself to my guidance. Not every challenge is meant to harm you. Sometimes it comes to awaken you, to crack open the wall you've built around yourself so that light can finally enter. As an ancient hymn once proclaimed, He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. I do not use hardship to punish, but to free the parts of you that have been lost in striving, the parts you dropped while chasing voices louder than the call of heaven. I know there are many things in your heart right now that you have not put into words, quiet fears you assume I do not see. Old wounds you thought had healed, but ache again with the slightest touch. Memories you want to forget but cannot. My child, I see them all, and I do not wait for you to be perfect before I love you. I love you in your weakness. I love you in the chaos of your thoughts. I love you even when your heart struggles to believe in itself. My love is nothing like the fragile affections of this world. It does not fade when you falter. It does not vanish when you fail. It does not withdraw when you are tired or uncertain. You are never a burden to me. You are a joy that rises in the heavens. You are a song that never stops in the holy realm. And I come to you today not to add more weight upon your shoulders, but to lift off the burdens you have long believed you must carry alone. I did not create you to struggle through everything by yourself. I created you so you would learn to rest in me. My child, let this passage become the beginning of a new journey, one where you no longer have to strain to keep going, one where you are no longer the one chasing peace, but the one who allows peace to come. I want you to know that my presence is covering you right now. Even though your physical eyes cannot see it, your soul is sensing it. A gentle warmth is entering your thoughts, like my hand resting on your shoulder saying, "Do not be afraid. I am here. And when I am here, no darkness can touch you in a way that destroys you. No word spoken by the world can break you. No trial is strong enough to crush your soul, because you belong to me and what belongs to me. Nothing in heaven or on earth can ever separate from my love. My beloved child, as you continue to listen, I want to lead you deeper into the realm of light that your soul is slowly awakening to. There, in the quietest place within you, I am planting new seeds of peace, like tiny particles of light falling softly onto the soil of a heart that has grown dry from years of exhaustion. You may not see the change immediately, but every word, every sentence I send to you is becoming a stream of water soaking into that parched ground, awakening a life you thought had already withered. Do not be quick to conclude that you are too tired or that it is too late. There is no such thing as too late for the one who holds all time. When I declared in Isaiah, "I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth," I was not speaking only to a distant generation. I am speaking to you in this very moment. Something new is springing up in your soul right now, quietly yet powerfully, gently yet persistently, and it will bring you a peace you thought you could never find again. Ask yourself, why am I calling you at this time? Why? In the midst of all the rush, do I choose this very moment to draw you closer? Because there are works I can only do when your mind is open and your heart has softened. For so long, you have lived in repeating cycles, striving, disappointment, hope, then weariness again. Through those months and years, you thought you were strong, but in truth, you were stretching yourself thinner and thinner without knowing it. Every time you swallowed your tears to keep going, every time you suppressed a sigh so others would not worry, every time you forced yourself to keep standing so no one would see your weakness, all of that left hidden marks, weighing your soul down more each day. I the one who knows your heart better than anyone, have been waiting for the moment you would allow me to step in and lift that burden from your shoulders. You do not need to prove your strength in front of me. You do not have to hide anything from me. You do not need to suppress your emotions to appear fine with me. I am not looking for perfection in you. I am longing for honesty within you. Every time you dare to admit, "I'm tired," Father, that is not failure. That is the moment you give me the opportunity to care for you in the way only I can. That is the moment I lay my hand upon your heart to heal the parts that seem hardened beyond repair. That is the moment I wipe away the tears you do not dare let anyone else see. The psalm once wrote, "You count my tears. Not a single drop falls without my knowing, and not a single tear is meaningless to me." Imagine a person wandering through the night, holding a small lamp, trying desperately to shield its flame from the fierce wind. That is who you have been for many years. You have tried to preserve your light by your own strength, while I, the inexhaustible source of light, have been standing right beside you. You have tried too hard, endured too long, and you have forgotten that you were never meant to be alone. Now, I want to replace that fragile little lamp with a source of light that nothing can extinguish. But to do that, you must loosen your grip on the old lamp. You must allow me to breathe a new breath into your heart, to grant you new strength. Just as it was once declared, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." My child, there are things you are going through that you do not understand, but I want you to know that not every hardship is your enemy. Some of them are messengers of transformation, just as metal must pass through fire to become pure. Your soul also needs certain trials to reveal the strength that has been sleeping within. But I will never allow that fire to consume you. I allow it only long enough to burn away what is not truly you, the fears, the inferiority, the memories that weigh you down, the things you cling to even though they have wounded you for far too long. What I desire to keep is the purest part of you, the part I formed in you from the very beginning. Do you know why you are often tired without knowing exactly why? Because your soul has been drained trying to meet the expectations of too many people. You try so that no one will be disappointed. You gather all the blame onto yourself. You are afraid to bother others, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being abandoned. All these things force your heart to brace itself every day. You do not even realize it. But it is your kindness that has caused you the deepest wounds. You are willing to give, willing to listen, willing to yield, yet you rarely offer yourself the same gentleness you give to others. I do not rebuke you for this. I only want you to know that you are worthy of being loved, of resting, of being healed, of being treated with the tenderness you have poured out on the world. Your weariness is not proof that you are weak. It is a sign that you need to come home. You need to return to the place of my peace, where there is no judgment, where no one demands that you appear strong. There, you can let go, breathe deeply, and lay down every worry without fearing what anyone will think. When you return there, I will teach you again how to listen to your own heart. I will show you that you were not created to please the entire world, but to live out the calling I have placed within you. You were not made to be swept away by the waves of life, but to stand firm like a tree whose roots reach deep into living water. And I myself am that living water. Not a single trial you have ever faced has been wasted. I will use the things you thought had broken you to rebuild the strongest parts of who you are. I will use your pain to bring compassion to others. I will use the nights you wept to carve in you a heart that understands more deeply, that is softer, richer in love. And then, when the time comes, The very things that once made you stumble will become the stones on which you stand higher. See farther and understand more. A person who has walked through storms sees life with different eyes, eyes that know what is truly valuable and what is merely temporary. Eyes that are no longer easily shaken by judgment or pressure. Eyes that have learned that their peace is more important than the noise around them. My beloved child, I am leading you into a season where your inner stillness will become a fortress, not a silence of despair, but the stillness of a soul that knows who is holding it. When you know that I am the one holding your hand, you will no longer fear what has not yet happened. You will no longer chase after worries that are not yours to carry. You will no longer live in the frantic pace that has exhausted you for so many years. Your mind will no longer be filled with questions like, what if something bad happens? What if that person leaves? What if I fail? Those questions have been suffocating you for so long. But when you are with me, those questions lose their power. Because you know that even when the storm rises, I am still the one who commands the wind. Do not think you must fix everything in a single day. I am not demanding that you repair your whole life at once. All I desire today is that you open your heart just a little, just enough for a sliver of light to enter, just a brief moment when you pause, close your eyes, and allow your heart to soften. Great transformations always begin with very small openings. Like the tiny mustard seed in the teachings of old, seemingly harmless and simple, yet when sown in good soil, it grows into a large tree, offering shade to many. So it is with your heart, if you will let me plant even a single seed of hope in you. I will cause it to bear fruit in ways you yourself could never imagine. I want you to believe this. You are not wandering. You are being led. Every step you take, whether it is slow because you are weary or trembling because you are afraid, is still held within my hand. You are not on the wrong path simply because you do not yet understand the meaning of the path you are on. Confusion, uncertainty, exhaustion, these are only temporary layers of mist, not your destiny. When the appointed time comes, I will blow that mist away, and you will see clearly the road set before you. But before you see the road, you must learn to hear my voice, for it is my voice that will lead you to where the light breaks forth. My child, I want to take you one step deeper into the truth your soul has long desired. It is not a truth meant to frighten you or add more pressure, but a truth that opens space for you to breathe more deeply, live more lightly, and stand more firmly in the midst of a turbulent world. All this time, you believed that in order to have peace, you needed to control everything around you, control how others behave, control what may come, control the dangers that could appear at any moment. But my child, you are tired because you have been carrying things that were never placed upon your shoulders. Peace does not come from your ability to control life, but from realizing that you belong to the one who is in control of all things. Throughout your life, you have faced countless situations that were beyond your strength. There were days when you felt swept away, unable to find a place to stand. There were nights you lay awake, worrying about things that had not happened yet, only to awaken the next morning with a heavier heart than before. You felt pressure because you wanted everything to turn out well, pressure because you feared doing something wrong, pressure because you tried to keep peace for everyone else, even when you yourself were trembling inside. But my child, I want you to understand this: you do not always have to be strong. You are not the pillar that holds up the world. You are simply a child in my hand. You are tired because you have forgotten that you can lean on me. You worry because you forget that everything in your life follows the timing I have ordained. You fear because you forget that there is an unsleeping eye watching every step you take. When you try to handle everything by your own strength, You make yourself a lone warrior on a battlefield too vast. But when you remember that you walk beside the one who governs time, everything becomes different. You no longer need to race toward things beyond your reach. You only need to follow my steps, and I will never lead you to a place where you are abandoned. Think back to the times you believed you would not make it through. Are you not still standing here? Yes. You stumbled, but you did not remain on the ground. There was a hand lifting you, even when you did not notice it. You thought you endured by your own resilience, but it was I who placed perseverance within you. You thought you were strong because of yourself, but every ounce of strength in you was a gift. If I had not kept you, you would have broken long ago. If I had not been with you, your heart would have lost its way in the dark. But my child, I protected you through winds far stronger than you realized. I sheltered you even when you were unaware that you were walking along a fragile edge. When I look at you, I do not see a weak soul. I see a spirit rising after years of pressure pressing you down. I see courage in every moment you choose to stand instead of giving up. I see strength in every tear you wiped away so others would not worry. I see your faithfulness in days when you received no recognition at all. You think no one notices your quiet efforts, but I do. I know every smallest thing, the gentle word you forced yourself to speak while your heart was hurting, the kind act you offered when no one saw, the prayer whispered in your weakest state. None of it is meaningless. All of it is a jewel in my hand. You are not as small as you think. The world may make you feel small, but I, the one who called the universe into being, do not see you that way. I see in you a light that darkness cannot extinguish. I see within you strength you have not yet dared to believe in. I see gifts in you that have not been unlocked, and things you will one day do that will astonish even yourself. I see you rising from the very things that once tried to bury you. I see restoration sprouting from places in your soul that once seemed hopeless. If you open your heart for me to lead, you will find yourself changing day by day, not in the way the world defines change, but in the way heaven defines it: deeper, more peaceful, brighter. For true transformation does not come from what happens around you, but from what changes within you. It is not your circumstances that decide your direction, but the voice you choose to follow. If you listen to fear, you will shrink. If you listen to doubt, you will remain still. But if you listen to my voice, you will step into the extraordinary. Remember that every storm has a limit. No storm lasts forever, because I do not allow it to last forever. I set boundaries for every trial in your life. I set the beginning and the end. When storms rise, you often think you are being swept away. But I want you to know that every gust of wind has passed through my permission. Nothing comes to you without purpose. Some things come to correct you. Some things come to redirect you. Some things come to strengthen your heart. Some things come so you will realize how much you need me. But none of it comes to destroy you. I am your Father, and I have never created a situation for the purpose of breaking you permanently. You may not see the way out right now, but that does not mean the way out does not exist. A child standing before a dark forest cannot see the path, but the father holding the child's hand knows it clearly. You do not need to know every answer. You only need to know who is walking with you. When you know who holds your future, you no longer fear what you cannot see. My child, lift your head. You have looked too long at the things that frighten you. Now look at me, the one who calmed the stormy sea, the one who lifted the fallen, the one who brings the lost back to the right path. My child, in this journey, I want you to learn how to breathe again, not the quick, shallow breathing of anxiety, but the full, steady breath of peace. I want you to walk again with the gentle rhythm your soul has forgotten after chasing so many things that were never yours to carry. You have lived too fast, too hard, with too many fears. I want you to slow down, to listen to your own heartbeat, and to realize that each beat is proof that I am still sustaining you. You do not live because of luck. You live because I want you to live. When you have me, no circumstance can bury your future. Even when challenges come so close that they stir your fears, I have never abandoned you to face them alone. You are walking through a protected season. You are standing in a realm of light that darkness cannot cross. What you think is an approaching tragedy is, in truth, only a gentle warning meant to draw you back into my arms. Not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Not to make you panic, but to remind you that every breath you take, every choice you make, every thought within you matters deeply to me. I want you to step into a new season, one where fear no longer leads you. A season where your faith becomes louder than the noise of the world. A season where your heart is healed little by my gentleness. A season where you understand that you no longer have to carry so much. A season where you know your worth does not depend on what someone says, nor on the achievements you attain, nor on the approval of people. Your worth rests in the love I have for you, a love that never changes. And believe this, you are entering your own season of peace. This peace does not come because your circumstances become perfect, but because you give me a place in your heart. When I am there, peace is no longer something you must search for. It becomes something that flows naturally within you, like water flowing from its source. Peace will move through your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions. Every step you take, you will find yourself changing in ways you cannot explain. You will see your fears diminishing. You will feel wounds that once pierced you becoming lighter. You will notice your heart shining again, even though nothing around you has changed yet. Keep your heart soft. Let my words soak into you like morning dew into the grass. Do not resist the renewal I am bringing. Do not doubt the gentle movements happening within your soul. I am reshaping you, realigning you, healing you, preparing you for a journey far greater than anything you have imagined. And you only need to do one thing: open your heart. My beloved child, now that you have stepped through the first doorway of awakening, I want to lead you deeper into the essence of the healing I am doing within you. This healing is not a brief moment. It is a journey, a stream that continually flows through the deepest layers of your soul, through places you have locked away, through places you thought were forgotten, through places you have avoided touching because you feared the pain would return. But my child, for the heart to be free, it must first be exposed to light, not to reveal weakness, but to make room for light to enter. Over the years, you have learned how to stay standing through sudden changes, but that resilience sometimes made you believe you must keep bracing yourself, keep shielding your emotions, keep hiding your tenderness. You became so accustomed to holding things that were never meant to be carried. You taught yourself how to be silent when you were hurting, how to smile when you were grieving, how to stay composed when you were breaking inside, and you thought that was the only way to be strong. But my child, I did not create you to be a wall. I created you with a heart that can feel, love, rise again, melt, and be reborn from ashes. True strength is not the absence of wounds. True strength is allowing me to enter the places you have kept hidden. Your pain is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that you have a heart that knows how to live, a heart that has loved deeply, trusted boldly, hoped repeatedly, and been torn apart by things that felt too heavy to bear. A heart that feels will always have cracks, but those cracks are where the light enters. You have tried to hide them, mend them, cover them, and disguise them so no one could see. But I want you to know I have seen them all along. And I do not see them as ugly. I see them as the most beautiful places, because those are the places where you need me the most. Healing does not begin with forgetting, it begins with facing. But you do not have to face anything alone. I am here to look with you, to remove each layer of pain that has hardened around your heart. I do not come to reopen the wound, but to lift the weight it has carried. I do not come to remind you of old suffering, but to show you that it no longer has power over you. Some pains stayed only because you never placed them into my hands. Now I want you to place them there. I can carry them, and I will carry them far from you. Know this, your soul has depths that only I can reach. People may see your smile, hear your words, guess at your thoughts, but they cannot see the quiet scars burning beneath. Only I, the one who formed your soul, know every unspoken emotion, every swallowed tear, every question you tucked away too deeply to express. I know what wounded you. I know what frightened you. I know what made you withdraw. I know what makes you sigh when no one else is around. There is no vibration within your heart that I do not hear. And because I know, I also know how to heal. I do not heal through haste. I do not force you to be strong instantly. I do not pull you up before you are ready. I heal through patience, through gentleness, through the little things you often overlook. I heal you through mornings when you feel lighter without knowing why. I heal you through quiet moments of peace that appear unexpectedly. I heal you through a kind glance, through a warm word from someone I placed in your path at the right moment. I heal you through silence, through the growing ability to breathe more deeply than before. I heal you when you no longer tremble at things that once terrified you. And sometimes, I heal you by letting your heart release the last tears of an old season. My beloved child, healing has a voice of its own, a voice as soft as wind, yet steady as the earth. It does not rush. It does not shout. It does not force. It whispers. And if you listen closely, you will hear it saying, "You are safe now. You are no longer in the days when you had to brace yourself to survive. This is the season where you may be gentle again. This is the season where you walk without needing to run from anything. This is the season where I want your soul to rediscover the rhythm it has long lost, the rhythm of peace. Throughout the long journey, you have given far more than you have received. You have carried the broken pieces of others, wiped tears that were not yours, endured harsh words you did not deserve, and held responsibilities far beyond your limits. Your soul is tired as it should be. Your body is weakened as it should be. But now, I want to reverse the roles. Let me be the one who holds you. Let me be the one who wipes your tears. Let me be the one who carries the weight for you. Let me be the place you come home to whenever your heart is heavy. I know there are moments when you believe you no longer deserve to be loved because of mistakes you made in the past. But my child, I never measure your worth by your failures. I measure your worth by the love I have for you, a love that does not depend on circumstances, that does not waver with the seasons, that is not limited by your shortcomings, a love that overcomes your fears, a love that passes through the things you thought you could never endure, a love unlike anything this world could ever offer. Child, whenever you look back at your past with sadness, I want you to see it differently. Do not look at your past as chains. See it as proof that you have walked through what once felt impossible. Do not see your old mistakes as burdens. See them as reminders that you chose to rise. Do not see the times you cried as signs of weakness. See them as prayers spoken in the deepest language of the soul. I want you to know that every painful memory is losing its power, because I am rewriting the story of your life into something gentler, deeper, and brighter. You are not being healed merely to feel better. You are being healed to become new. New in the way you see life. New in the way you face hardship. New in how you love yourself. New in the way you walk through the world. You are not returning to what you once were. You are becoming someone new. As Paul once wrote, if anyone is in him, they are a new creation. Your inner being is being renewed day by day. I am rewriting the places once buried in darkness with lines of light that nothing can extinguish. Child, when you allow me to touch you, the first thing I open is the door of peace. Not a temporary peace, but a peace with foundation. A peace not dependent on circumstances, not shaken by words of the world, not lost when trouble comes. This peace comes from knowing that I am here, and I will not allow anything to destroy you. This peace comes from recognizing that you no longer need to control everything. This peace comes from resting in a love that never changes. And once your heart has drunk deeply of peace, it will begin to revive. It will remember its own worth. It will know that it deserves love, protection, and honor. It will no longer define itself by harsh words you once heard. It will no longer blame itself for things that were never its responsibility. It will no longer hold the fragments that once caused you pain. My child, I am doing all of this within you now, quietly, deeply. Surely, you do not need to hurry. You only need to open your heart and let me lead. My beloved child, as the light of healing gently spreads into every corner of your mind, I want to guide you into a deeper understanding of yourself, of your nature, your soul, the value I placed within you long before you knew how to name the world. Healing does not merely bring relief, it awakens a part of your identity that has been covered by dust, distorted by wounds, and blurred by words that never belonged to you. And now, my child, it is time for you to relearn the truth about yourself, not the truth spoken by people, but the truth I inscribed on your soul from the beginning. Child, certain experiences made you feel small. Some moments made you doubt your worth. Some failures made you question your ability. Some people said things that made you unsure of your goodness, your strength, your heart. And in trying to live to please others, you slowly lost your own voice. You began to see yourself through the eyes of others, eyes that were sometimes misunderstood, sometimes lacked compassion, sometimes only saw what they wanted to see. But those voices are not true. Those definitions are not my definition of you. I want you to stop and look at yourself the way I look at you, with deep love, with honor, with the delight of heaven. To me, you are not the sum of your failures. You are not a list of things left unfinished. You are not an echo of criticism. You are a soul shaped by my hands, a soul marked with the imprint of the holy, a soul crafted to carry a beauty no other soul can replicate. And within that uniqueness, I placed a calling, a purpose, a flame that only you can bring into the world. You have spent much time comparing yourself to others, comparing yourself to those who seem more successful, comparing yourself to those who are more loved, comparing yourself to those ahead of you, comparing yourself to those who speak better, stand stronger, or shine brighter. But my child, comparison is a silent thief. It steals the gratitude from your heart and makes you forget that I did not create you to be like anyone else. If I wanted you to be them, I would have made you them. But I chose to make you exactly as you are, with the form, the personality, and the path I designed. Every person I create is a different melody, and your melody, even on days when you think it is faint or messy, is still an irreplaceable part of my great symphony. If you look at life through my eyes, you will see that even the weakest parts of you carry seeds of strength. The places where you feel insecure are the very places where I have hidden potential. The experiences that hurt you are the soil where restoration begins. The judgments that once crushed you are the very places where I want you to rise with a more mature version of yourself. Your fragility does not disappoint me. It draws me closer to you. Remember that true strength does not come from never trembling. It comes from knowing where to lean when you tremble. Strength is not the absence of flaws. It is the act of placing your imperfections into my hands. A clay vessel that hides its cracks will never allow the light to shine through. But the vessel that reveals its cracks is the one I use to shine the brightest. I am not asking you to be unbreakable. I am asking you to be honest before me. As you relearn your value, I want you to remember this: your worth is not found in what you do, but in the fact that you exist. Your worth is not in your accomplishments, it is in your presence among humanity. When you enter a room, the light within you changes the atmosphere. When you listen to someone with sincerity, their heart is comforted. When you speak a kind word, a seed of blessing is planted in another soul. When you forgive, you break chains that imprisoned both you and the one who hurt you. These things do not come from forced effort. They come from the goodness I placed within you from the very beginning. Let me speak to you about forgiveness not as an obligation, but as a gift you offer to your own soul. Forgiveness is not agreeing with the wrongs others have done. Forgiveness is releasing your heart from bondage. You have carried the arrows for too long, letting them remain lodged in your heart, wounding you every time you remembered them. But my child, you were not created to live in an endless cycle of pain. When you forgive, you pull out each arrow one by one. When you forgive, you are saying, I choose peace over bitterness. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is the path to freedom, and I will walk that path with you. In the journey of healing, one of the first things you must learn is to tell the truth to yourself, not the truth distorted by fear, but the truth that comes from my heart. You are unconditionally loved. You are protected. You matter. You have been given a value that no one can take away. No judgment, no event, no abandonment can alter the way I see you. What people say about you is only an echo, but the words I speak over your life are the words that shape destiny. When you understand this truth, insecurity will begin to loosen its grip on you. You will no longer feel the need to hide who you are. You will no longer wear a mask for the sake of acceptance. You will no longer panic when you think about the future, because you know you walk with the one who already shaped that future. You will begin to see every circumstance not through fear but through trust. You will no longer tremble at what could happen, because you know that nothing comes to you outside the circle of my love. When you allow me to touch the deepest places of your heart, you will discover something. The peaceful sleep you lost is returning. The gentle breath you thought you forgot is awakening again. A peace you have never fully experienced is beginning to enter the quiet corners of your soul. Not everything will change in a single day, but little by little, you will see yourself transforming. You will feel lighter. You will find yourself standing upright without forcing yourself. You will begin to treat yourself with kindness. You will feel whole not because anyone gave you something, but because I am filling you from within. This is the moment when you are being reshaped, not according to the expectations of the world, but according to my design. I am removing the old layers from you, the layer of fear, the layer of comparison, the layer of false teachings. the layer of beliefs you once carried as truth. And then I will clothe you in something new, the garment of holy confidence, the garment of deep peace, the garment of strength formed by love, the garment of true self-understanding, my beloved child. As your soul begins to feel the gentle revival reaching into the hidden places, I want to take you to a deeper level of transformation, a place where you are not only healed but formed into someone who carries light, not a light to impress the world, but a light that guides you through your darkest days without losing direction. A light that shines for others who are weary just as you once were. Everything you have gone through was not meant to crush you, but to make you understand human pain so that you might become an instrument of peace wherever you go. Remember, every sorrow that brought you to tears has become soil where I plant seeds. Every tear you swallowed has been water nourishing the seeds of maturity within you. None of your pain has been wasted. All of it is being used to form the quiet strength you feel growing in you even now. There are things I do not explain right away, not because I want you confused, but because I want you to learn trust before you learn understanding. If you understood all my ways, then faith would lose its meaning. It is the fact that you do not know, yet still place your hand in mine, that causes heaven to rejoice. Healing is not a destination, it is the path you are walking. And that path leads you into a new spiritual maturity not gained through knowledge, but through living with me. A person who knows me only through stories will never understand me as deeply as one who has been lifted by my hand from the depths. You are becoming such a person, one who speaks of me not from books, but from the moments you exhaled in pain and inhaled in hope. From the nights your tears fell but you still rose the next morning, from the days you stood in silence, unseen by others, yet still whispered in your heart, "Please lead me." You have walked through things that felt impossible to survive, and it is this that gives you the authority to speak of my faithfulness more powerfully than any argument. When I look at your journey, I do not see weakness. I see endurance. I do not see loss, I see learning. I do not see the times you fell, I see the times you stood up again. And all of these moments shape you into a soul with depth, a depth no storm can take away. You do not realize that these past years, though filled with wounds, were my sowing season. Every pain that once brought you to your knees has become fertile ground where I planted seeds of strength. And now, in my light, those seeds are beginning to sprout. Your transformation does not come from your own effort, but from allowing me to work. Every time you open your heart, even a little, I do the rest. When you release what does not belong to you, I fill the empty space with peace. When you loosen your grip on what exhausts you, I place freedom into your hands. When you stop blaming yourself, I give you compassion toward your own soul. When you stop comparing your life to the lives of others, I help you see that you are standing on a unique path, one that only you and I understand. One of the things I want to teach you in this season is this: do not measure yourself by the pace of others. Every soul is led by me at a unique rhythm. Some learn quickly, but forget easily. Some learn slowly, but their understanding becomes deep. Some advance rapidly, but are easily shaken. Some move in small steps, but every step is firm and strong. You are not behind anyone, nor are you ahead of anyone. You are moving at the exact pace designed for you. That rhythm is crafted by me, and when you walk in your rhythm, you will not burn out, my child. Spiritual maturity does not come from avoiding hardship, but from facing it with peace. You cannot stop the wind from blowing, but you can learn how to adjust your sails. You cannot prevent every unexpected event, but you can learn to lean on me so that your heart remains steady. You cannot control how people treat you, but you can choose how your heart responds. And that choice is what strengthens you day by day. I have seen the moments when you tried to stay calm, even though someone's words pierced you. I have seen the times you held yourself back from responding with hurt. I have seen the moments you chose silence because you did not want to wound anyone further. None of these things are overlooked by me. People may forget, but I do not. Every small act born from love is recorded in heaven, and I treasure each one. Even the ones you think are too small to matter. From now on, you will not live merely to survive the day. You will live to become a light. Do not think of light as something grand or unreachable. Light only needs to be present. It does not need to shout. It does not need to prove itself. Light does not win by arguing. Light wins by being. When you are somewhere, your peace spreads there. When you walk in, your gentleness softens hardened hearts. When you speak, your voice carries something you cannot fully describe, but others can feel. That is the light I placed within you, my child. At this very moment, I am preparing you for new doors, doors you will enter with a steadiness you have never known before. Not a steadiness built from success, but from peace within. You no longer react the way you once did. You are no longer easily shaken by the words of others. You are no longer guided by random impulses. You are becoming someone who chooses from peace, not fear. Who chooses from trust, not pressure. Let me tell you this with the gentleness of heaven: you are beginning to grow beautiful in the way of the sacred. Beautiful, not in appearance, but in the purity of your soul. Beautiful not in how you speak, but in the truth you carry. Beautiful not because you strive, but because my presence is rising from within you. When a soul knows that it is loved, protected, and belongs to someone, that soul becomes radiant beyond words. And from this moment on, you will enter a season where your peace will no longer be taken from you so easily. You will no longer let small disturbances throw you off course. You will no longer measure yourself by the standards others place on you. You will no longer live in fear of the future, because you know that your future does not rest in the hands of the world, but in mine, beloved child. After I have healed and awakened the hidden places within your soul, I now want to lead you into a new chapter, one in which you are not only comforted, but equipped, not only healed, but guided, not only standing, but learning how to walk forward. The peace you have received is not a souvenir to be put away like something old. It is meant to be carried each day to become your breath, your heartbeat, your steps, your gaze. For from this moment on, you will no longer walk as one who barely survived, but as one who knows they are divinely kept. There are seasons when I must slow down with you, slow to heal, slow to mend, slow to pull out the bitter roots of fear and insecurity. But there are also seasons when I must lead you faster, stronger, with greater clarity, not to burden you, but to show you that you were created not only to survive, but to live with purpose. You were not born merely to get through each day with difficulty. You were born to step into something greater, something that only a soul who has tasted darkness can receive with depth. Your new season requires awareness, not the heavy kind, but the awareness of someone who knows how to discern, to listen, to separate my voice from the noise of the world. The world is always loud, the noise of anxiety, comparison, pressure, judgment, the expectations others place on your shoulders. But my voice is gentle, warm, and deep. It does not push, it invites. It does not frighten, it calms. It does not weigh you down, it lifts you up with sweetness. From now on, you must learn to recognize that voice, because discernment will be the key that brings you into the doors I have prepared. You will encounter new opportunities, but not every opportunity is meant for you. You will meet new people, but not everyone will lead you toward the light. You will be called to new places, but not every place is where you should stand. Discernment is the ability to see beyond the surface, to hear the rhythm of truth beneath all surrounding noise. Discernment does not come from intelligence, but from relationship with me. When you know me, you will recognize my voice even when it whispers. When you draw near to me, you will sense clearly where peace is and where it is not. When you walk in my guidance, every step becomes steady, even when you cannot see far. Just as Abraham walked toward a land he did not know, yet he knew the one who called him, and that was enough. My child, I want your soul to enter a new maturity, the maturity of someone who listens before acting, who prays before deciding, who slows down before being swept away by the rush of the world. The world will tell you to react quickly, to respond instantly, to decide immediately, lest you miss your chance. But I want you to know this: anything that comes from me will never require haste. Hurry is the voice of fear. Peace is the voice of the giver of life. Therefore, from now on, practice the habit of pausing for a moment before you make a decision. Let your heart settle one more breath. Ask me, Father, where is your will in this? You do not need to hear an audible answer. I often respond through a gentle peace that settles softly inside you, or through a quietness that comes when all other noise fades. At times, my answer is a subtle restraint, a holy hesitation that makes you lose the desire to step into something, even if it appears attractive on the surface. That sacred reluctance is my protection. You do not realize how many times I have protected you simply by withholding peace from the things that were not meant for you. You have wondered why certain things never progressed, no matter how hard you tried. Why some doors that seemed logical closed right before you. But my child, sometimes I do not allow something because I see what you cannot see. I see the road ahead long before you reach it. I know who could wound your soul if you connect at the wrong time. I know what will lead you away from purpose. I close doors not to disappoint you, but to shield you from what does not belong to you. Not everything that is good is right. A door may look good to the mind, but be wrong for the soul. A path may look beautiful to the eye, but not lead to life. A relationship may feel pleasant in the beginning, but may bruise your heart later. This is why I want you to listen to me, because I do not lead you by outward appearance, but by essence. When you learn discernment, you will no longer chase every voice calling you. You will know how to say no to anything that steals your peace. You will know how to stay still when I ask you to, even when others around you urge you to run faster. You will know how to step forward even when you feel afraid, because you will recognize that the urging comes from my spirit, not from pressure. Then you will begin to live a life no longer dragged backward by fear, no longer swung around by public opinion, no longer driven by the temporary. You will live as one who truly understands the one you walk with. Discernment also helps you rediscover the most precious treasure in your spiritual life, the true voice within you. For years, that voice has been drowned out by so many sounds: the sound of hurt, the sound of others' expectations, the sound of judgment, the sound of self-doubt, the sound of trying to please someone, the sound of regret, the sound of fear about the future. Yet your soul has its own tone, gentle, pure, and peaceful. It is the tone created when your heart is in rhythm with my presence. I want you to hear that voice again, because that is where I whisper to your heart. That is where I plant new ideas. That is where I place holy dreams deep within you. That is where you can rest without fear. No one has the authority to shape your future except me. No one has the right to decide who you are except the one who created you. And no one can distort your true voice if you choose to let me guard it. Your new season will be guided not by temporary excitement, but by enduring peace. You will move step by step, light yet steady, decision by decision, quiet yet full of authority, choice by choice, humble yet strong. You will not need to raise your voice to be heard. Your peace alone will cause the world to pause and take notice. You will not need to fight for position. You only need to stand where I place you. I will handle the rest. You will not need to control every situation. You only need to trust me, for I am already there before you. What I want to teach you now is the art of walking with the Spirit, not rushing, not dragging, not fearing, not forcing, only stepping when I speak, only stopping when I touch your heart, only speaking when your heart is filled with the gentleness I give. When you live this way, you will find that your life becomes light as breath, yet strong as the wind from heaven. My beloved child, when you learn the art of discernment, the next place I want to lead you into is steadfastness. This steadfastness does not come from anything external, not from praise, not from achievement, not from human approval, but from an inner certainty. A certainty that you are walking with me, that your feet are standing on the ground I prepared, that every step you take is lifted by the invisible arm of the one who guards you. This steadfastness allows you to stand in waves without being swept away, to walk through seasons of change without trembling, to face trials without panic. Your spiritual life is not merely a series of emotional moments, but a journey of forming a foundation strong enough for you to stand even when everything around you shifts. If you live only by emotion, you will be shaken when emotions fade. If you live only by circumstance, you will be disappointed when circumstances turn. But when you live on the foundation of my leading, when you anchor your soul in my presence, you become like one who has cast an anchor in the storm, however strong the wind blows. You do not drift, my child. Steadfastness begins when you truly know whose hand holds yours, not a distant idea, not an abstract concept, not a vague belief, but a reality. I am right here. In every breath you take, in every decision you consider, in every morning you wake wondering how you will move forward. You are not alone. Loneliness exists only when you stare at the empty space. But if you turn toward the light, you will see that I have never left you, not even for a moment. Remember the nights you thought you would not make it through. You have sat in the dark with tears falling not because of one particular thing, but because your heart was too tired. You have walked as if carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have pretended to be fine so no one would worry, even when your soul longed to collapse. And though you never said it, I saw it all. I saw every fracture in your spirit. I saw every hidden sigh. I heard the prayer you whispered with nothing but a breath, "Please help me." Those very moments shaped the steadfastness you carry today. Not a shallow steadiness, but a refined one. Not a false confidence, but a surrendered strength. You stood up each time not because you were strong, but because I placed strength within you. You overcame because I carried you through every stretch. You went farther than you imagined because I held your hand tighter than you realized. Beloved child, now I want to teach you how to keep this steadfastness not only in days of peace, but even in days of trial. Trials do not weaken you. They simply reveal what you are standing on. If you stand on fear, trials will shake you. If you stand on insecurity, trials will cause you to retreat. But if you stand on my word, trials will only make you stronger. Your steadfastness is built from the quietest acts, from every prayer you whispered in silence, from each good choice you made when no one was watching, from every moment you chose peace instead of conflict, from every time you chose forgiveness instead of holding on to bitterness, from each second you chose to trust me even when your mind insisted it made no sense. These things gather within your soul like sharp-edged stones, forming a fortress, and when that fortress is built by my own hands, no storm can break it. You are no longer the person of yesterday. You have changed. You are deeper, stronger, more awake. And because you have already walked through things you once believed would destroy you, you now carry something precious in your hands, the lived experience of my faithfulness. No one can take that from you, child. Now, I want to speak to you about courage. Not the world's kind of courage, loud, boastful, relying on temporary strength, but a quiet, peaceful courage that stands within my power. It is the courage of one who knows that though circumstances change, I do not. It is the courage of one who knows that new directions may feel frightening, but the one leading them is unshakable. It is the courage of someone who does not need to know every detail before stepping forward, because they know the one who commands, move. This courage will bring you into places you never thought you were capable of entering. I know there were things you avoided simply because you feared failure, opportunities you stepped back from because you did not believe you were worthy, dreams you buried because they seemed too far to reach. But my child, I do not want you to shrink your life to the limits of fear. I want you to step into a life that blossoms, where the things I have planted within you grow in their appointed season. Remember this, your deepest longings, the desires that move your heart in ways you cannot explain, did not originate from you. They came from me. I placed those dreams within your soul as signs of what you were created to do. So do not doubt your dreams. They are not accidents. They are my whispers. In this new season, I want you to walk not only with discernment, but with a courage drawn from faith. When I say go, do not ask. Where? Ask. With whom? When I say do this, do not ask. Am I strong enough? Ask. How mighty is the one who gives the assignment? When I say, do not fear, do not stare at the storm, look at the hand holding you above the waves. Let this courage become the new rhythm of your heart. Courage is not the absence of trembling, it is taking the next step even while trembling. Courage is not the absence of worry, it is saying, I am worried, but I still trust you. Courage is not believing you will never make mistakes, it is knowing that even if you do, I will redirect your path. My guidance will never leave you confused. It will unfold clarity little by little. You do not need to see the full path, only the first step within the light. And as you step, the light expands. I have never said you must see everything before believing. I only asked you to walk. Just as Moses lifted his staff over waters that had not yet parted, just as Gideon stood even while afraid, just as Jacob walked forward without knowing what lay ahead, they moved not because they were strong, but because I was, and so will you. You will not walk into the future by your own strength, but by my leading. You will not stand by your own resilience, but by my protection. You will not prevail by your cleverness, but by my presence within you. From this moment on, you will live with a steadfastness that cannot be shaken, and a courage that cannot be stolen. For that steadfastness comes from me, and that courage is nourished by your faith. Beloved child, when steadfastness and courage begin to sprout within you like the first buds of spring, I want to bring you into an even deeper place, the place of intentionally walking with me. This is no longer the season where you only look to me when you are exhausted. This is the season where you learn companionship. No longer coming to me only when you collapse, but living in my presence every day, every hour, every moment. From here, you will learn not only to be guided, but to move with the rhythm of that guidance, becoming someone who has direction, purpose, firm yet gentle steps, and eyes that discern what is worth pursuing and what must be released. For so long, you have lived reactively reacting to circumstances, to the words of others, to fear, to the unexpected. But now, I want you to live proactively, not pushed by life, but moving according to my direction. This proactivity is not the urge to control everything. It is the ability to say, Father, I know you are ahead of me. I will follow. Let me teach you the art of living in my presence. Living in my presence does not mean retreating from the world. It means bringing the breath of heaven into the complexity of life. When you work, let your heart remember me. When you sit alone, let me sit with you. When you think, invite me into your thoughts. When you decide, ask me, what do you see in this? When you are tired, lean into the peace I place around you. Presence is not a ritual, it is a rhythm. When you become familiar with that rhythm, you will no longer feel lost in the world. You will discover something miraculous. What belongs to me will naturally come to you, not because you deserve it, but because you are walking in the right direction. When the soul is healed and the mind awakened, you will notice a deep but unmistakable shift. You will no longer be as easily swayed by outer circumstances. Things that once terrified you will no longer have the same power. Words that once wounded you will pass like wind. Pressures that once shook you will now feel like small tests. Not because life changed, but because you have. My beloved child, this shift within you is the first step into true intentional living. You no longer respond from your wounds, but from new understanding. You no longer let fear choose your direction, but allow faith to lead you. You no longer let old memories define you, but allow my truth to become your foundation. You no longer let chaos dictate your heart, but allow peace to be your center. Let me show you something important. When you walk in my presence, you begin to attract what carries life. Honest people will come toward you. Healthy opportunities will appear. The right paths will gradually become clear. Wrong burdens will fall from your shoulders. Harmful connections will dissolve on their own. What seems like coincidence will prove to be my purposeful intervention. Your intentionality does not lie in overworking yourself. It lies in keeping yourself in the light, and the light will always attract what belongs to the light. As you enter this new season, there is something vital you must learn. Protect your spiritual environment. Not the world around you, but the world within you. For the soul is the soil that shapes every decision, every action, every word, and every step you take. You cannot live full of light if you allow your mind to be filled with negative thoughts, destructive words, memories that weaken you, imaginations that frighten you, complaints that exhaust you, and comparisons that make you forget your worth. Whatever soil is watered with will grow what is planted there. If you water your mind with anxiety, your soul will wither. If you water your heart with doubt, everything will feel unstable. But if you water your soul with my truth, with faith, with gratitude, with gentleness, you will watch yourself change from the inside out day by day. Never forget, real transformation does not begin with action. It begins with the state of the soul. A heart filled with peace will produce peaceful actions. A heart filled with hope will make wise decisions. A person who knows they are loved will treat others with tenderness. A person who knows their worth will not choose anything that harms that worth. You are entering a season where I want to teach you how to guard the gate of your heart to choose what is allowed inside. You cannot stop the world from making noise, but you can refuse to let that noise stay in your heart. You cannot force people to speak rightly to you, but you can choose which words are allowed to influence your soul. You cannot control the future, but you can shape your posture toward it. This is the sacred form of intentionality in your thoughts, in your emotions, in your reactions, in the way you hold your heart before every situation. When you walk in this intentionality, what once seemed tangled will become clear. You will begin to understand that I do not only want you healed, but mature, not mature in hardness, but mature in depth, a depth that lets you love without losing yourself, serve without growing empty, give without sacrificing your peace, speak truth while staying gentle, stand firm without arrogance, listen without being pulled by the noise, walk without needing applause. Child, I want you to understand that walking with me is never a lonely path. On the contrary, it is the journey that leads you into a community of goodness. You will find people who grow with you, love with you, believe with you. People who do not compete with you, who do not envy you, who do not harm you with their words. People who will lift you when you are weak, and whom you will also uplift. True companionship, something rare in this world, is my gift to those who walk with me. And when you walk in rhythm with me, you will find souls who are drawn to the light in you, just as you were once drawn to mine. Do not underestimate yourself, my child. Do not think you are merely a grain of sand in a vast world. In my eyes, you are a mirror reflecting the light I have given you. And when you live in this sacred intentionality, that light grows not so that you may be praised, but so that you may become a living witness that healing is real, transformation is real, and my love is real. Beloved child, when your soul has journeyed through healing, when you have learned discernment, when steadfastness has taken root, and when courage has awakened within you, I want to bring you into a new stage, the stage of expansion. This is no longer just a journey for you to remain standing. This is the journey in which you shine with the purpose I placed within you from the very beginning. From this point forward, you will see that life is not merely a series of days to endure, but a vast canvas I am painting with you, each stroke, each color, each detail shaped by the one who holds time and the future. In the earlier seasons, I worked deeply within you, but now I want to work through you. I want the water you receive to flow outward and refresh wherever you walk. I want the light I placed within you to guide others. I want the peace you embraced to become a shelter for weary hearts. I want the lessons you endured to become wings for someone else to rise, not to burden you, but to enable you to live fully in why I created you. Let me widen your vision beyond what you have ever imagined. You see difficulty, I see opportunity. You see dead ends, I see open roads. You see your smallness, I see the mission I planted within you. You see limits, I see the potential I am awakening. I never look at you the way you look at yourself on weary days. I see you through the light of heaven, where you are defined not by failure, but by the purpose I have written over your life. A new stage is beginning, a stage where your soul will be led into greater steps. But before you walk through all the doors I am about to open, you must understand this expansion is not about running faster, but about seeing farther, not about carrying more, but about living lighter. Not about doing many things, but doing the right things. Not about pleasing people, but about living true to the purpose I gave you. I am not bringing you into a new season so you can become busy. I am bringing you into it so you can become aligned with my will more than ever before. A truly expanded life is not one where you work yourself to exhaustion. It is one where you walk in guidance, in wisdom, in a quiet confidence that you are exactly where you are meant to be. In this new season, I want you to see yourself through different eyes washed clean of fear, insecurity, old shame, and the heaviness of words that once wounded you. You are not the fragile child you once thought you were. You are not the failure your past tried to name you. You are not the victim of doubt or judgment. You are not the distorted image created by old wounds. You are the one I have chosen, the one I have called, the one I have placed my hand upon, the one I have guided through every chapter. Look back on your journey, not to feel regret, but to recognize that not a single step was meaningless. The days you thought you were exhausted were the days I was strengthening the spiritual backbone within you. The moments you felt abandoned were the very moments I was quietly protecting you from things you could not see. The seasons when you felt delayed were the seasons I was laying your foundation. You cannot step into expansion unless your foundation is steady, and I have taken time to make that foundation firm as stone. Your new season is not a season of hurried action, but of clear guidance. I will guide you not through thunder, but through a gentle breeze, not through force, but through a quiet stirring within your heart, not through pressure, but through the pull of peace. My peace is the sign of the right door. Unease is the sign of the wrong one. I want you to learn to follow peace as one follows a lamp in the night. Your expansion is not only about outward things, work, calling, opportunities, but first about the capacity of your heart. Your heart will widen wide enough to love without fear of being wounded, wide enough to forgive without waiting for an apology, wide enough to see the value in others without envy, wide enough to step into the new without clinging to the old, wide enough to stay whole even after passing through seasons of testing. I am stretching your heart, not to cause pain, but so that it may hold more light. Child, in order to step into expansion, you need a gift I prepared for you long ago: readiness. Not readiness of the mind, but readiness of the soul. Not readiness because you feel capable, but because you know I am capable. Not readiness because you trust yourself, but because you trust that I will do what you cannot. True readiness is when you say, Father, I do not know what I can do, but if you call me, I will go. True readiness is when you refuse to let the past dictate the future. True readiness is when old wounds no longer block new blessings. True readiness is when you believe that your life is not closed off by previous chapters. I want you to step out of your comfort zone, not to face danger, but to face your new self stronger, fuller of life, and aware that you are placed firmly in the light. From now on, I will bring you into places where your very presence becomes healing, places where your smile allows someone to believe that hope is still possible, places where your peaceful posture makes others desire to seek me, places where you need not speak much, for your heart will speak for you. You were not born merely to survive. You were born to leave an imprint, not an imprint for the world to praise, but an imprint for heaven to recognize that you fulfilled what I entrusted to you. This is why every past trial happened not to break you, but to prepare you for this season of expansion. And now that season stands before you like a radiant open door. Beloved child, now that I have widened your vision beyond your former limits, I want to lead you into a deeper realm of awareness, the realm of mission and sending. not sending in the loud way the world imagines, not a heavy assignment that burdens you, but a gentle, deep commissioning the mission your soul has always known but never dared to name. Once you step into expansion, I do not want you to simply stand there and look. I want you to step into the role prepared for you before your birth. My child, my sending is not like the world's sending. The world assigns tasks based on ability. I assign based on the heart. The world chooses people for positions based on achievements. I place people where they belong based on my purpose for their lives. The world demands readiness before the beginning. I choose you even when you feel unprepared, for I do not need your perfection. I only need a heart that is willing. In this season of expansion, I want you to recognize that your presence is never accidental. Wherever you are in family, in work, in community, among those you encounter, in circumstances that seem ordinary, there is purpose. No place in your life is meaningless. No meeting is random. No step is without my imprint. You think your life is only a long series of passing days, but I see the path of one who has been sent. Every word you speak can heal a heart. Every action you take can lift a soul. Every smile you offer can rescue someone from despair. Every quiet kindness you give can change a life, even if you never find out. What I want to give you now is awareness of your own deep worth. You have grown used to seeing yourself through failure, criticism, wrong choices, or old wounds. But I see you through the eyes of the one who created you, eyes that never misjudge. You are an instrument in my hand, whether you recognize it or not. And an instrument is not made to be stored away, but to be used. You may think you are too small to accomplish anything significant, but my child, in my hands, a single drop of water can become a river. A single timely word can resurrect hope long dead. A single gentle touch can thaw a heart frozen for years. Your smallness does not limit me, on the contrary. It gives me room to reveal my strength through you. I am calling you into a space of influence, not the influence of fame, but the influence of touching souls. The world longs for attention. I want you to bring comfort. The world looks for loud voices. I formed you to be a gentle, powerful one. The world chases success. I call you to bring life. The world measures by quantity. I measure by the impact upon the heart. In this season of expansion, you must understand this. Your mission is not to carry the world, but to let life flow through you. You do not need to shift the earth. You only need to do your part. You do not need to become someone else. You need only become who you were at creation in my eyes. You do not need to prove anything. You simply need to let the light within you speak. Let me speak to you about inner expansion, the very thing that prepares the way for every outward expansion. Without a wide heart, no one can fully live out their calling. Without a strong spirit, no one can sustain the light they carry. Without a deep relationship with me, no one can stand firm when placed in positions of influence. Inner expansion happens when you release judgment to keep compassion. Let go of bitterness to keep a pure heart. Set aside fear to walk in faith. Abandon smallness to live generously. And lay down comparison so you may recognize your own worth. These things do not make you weak. They open you. Open your heart for life to flow in. Open your soul for light to pass through. Open your mind for wisdom to pour out like a spring. I want you to begin seeing the world with new eyes, no longer through worry, but through the awareness that you are protected, no longer through insecurity, but through compassion, no longer through fear of the future, but through trust that I am going before you. You are growing, and because you are growing, your vision will expand, From now on, you will not only ask, "How do I get through this?" but, "How do I bring life into this?" That is the question of someone with a mission. When I lead you into expansion, I do not send you alone. In every step, I place guidance. In every turn, I place signs. In every decision, I place either peace or its absence, like a sacred map. You only need to listen, and you will recognize it. My child, there are seasons when I draw you inward, and seasons when I push you outward, not to distance you from me, but to make you reach more souls. Light cannot shine when hidden in a box. And you are the same. You were created to step out, not to shrink back. I am opening doors. You only need to walk through them. And I want you to know this season of expansion will be filled with things you have never seen before, yet none of them will overwhelm you. For you walk under the assurance of the one who holds the sky in his hands. As long as you walk with me, you will not lose your way. As long as you trust me, you will lack nothing. As long as you hold my hand, no storm will be able to shake you. Remember, this expansion does not demand more from you. Expansion means I give more to you, more grace, more wisdom, more compassion, more opportunities to love, more capacity to influence, more peace. You need only open your heart and receive. My beloved child, I want to bring you into a deeper layer of the journey I prepared long ago for your soul. A layer where mission is no longer merely an idea you ponder, but becomes a living essence flowing through every breath, every step, every quiet movement of your heart. Mission is not something you must strive to build by your own strength. It forms naturally when you stand in the place I appointed. When you live under the light I shine. When you allow my love to soften the parts of you once hardened by pain. And when your inner transformation becomes a voice for others, not a loud voice before the world, but a voice that helps wandering souls recognize the way home. In my eyes, every shift in your life has meaning. Everything you have ever experienced, even the moments when you nearly collapsed or the tiny unnoticed details, are being woven into the mission you are entering. The things that once made you bow your head have now become golden threads, shaping your strength. The fears that once made you shrink have become proof that courage is not born from ease, but from despair transformed into hope. The tears that once made you feel weak have become radiant gems because I touched them and changed their meaning. The failures that once haunted you have become pages others will learn from, not through eloquent words, but through the peace that flows quietly from your life as a silent testimony. In this season, you will notice a shift in the way you see yourself in the world. Things that once distracted you will lose their pull, for your soul is expanding like a field after rain. Where life begins to sprout again, you will find yourself no longer captivated by what is empty, no longer allowing your mind to be consumed by hollow noise, no longer seeking human approval to feel worthy, no longer letting careless words wound the heart I have healed with deep tenderness. You will realize that what once unsettled you no longer has power, because your heart has been placed on a new axis, where mission becomes the magnet that draws what belongs to you and repels what doesn't. The mission I entrust to you is not a burden that drains you, but a current that makes you more alive. Not a chain of responsibilities that exhausts you, but a path that leads to profound freedom. Not a race demanding competition, but a gentle journey where my love flows through you in ways you could never anticipate. When you step into your true mission, you will realize your strength comes from me, not from your own effort. You do not need to strain to do great things. You only need to let my love move through you as naturally as breath. And what transforms inside you will naturally influence others. Many times you believed your painful experiences disqualified you from the new. You thought wounds made you weak. Shortcomings made you incapable. Mistakes made you unworthy of the plan I set over your life. But my child, I have never chosen you for your perfection. I chose you because you leaned on me when you had nothing else to hold. Because you let me reshape your being after every fall. Because you allowed light to enter places you once kept sealed. Because you let me heal what seemed unhealable. Mission is not for those who never fall. Mission is for those who rise from the very place they fell. As you step into the role of one who carries light, you will realize light does not need to be blinding to have impact. True light only needs to be present for everything around it to reveal its true form. Light does not argue to prove itself, it simply appears. And darkness steps back. And you are the same. You do not need to raise your voice for people to see me in you. You only need to live with the peace I placed within you. And that peace will speak. You only need to love with the heart I've given you. And that love will guide the lost. You only need to live as your renewed self, the one refined through trials and made holy by my love, and your life will become the testimony. Do not be surprised if I lead you into places others avoid. Light is not sent where light already shines. It is sent where it is lacking. I may lead you into environments your soul never wanted to enter, not to harm you, but so the light you carry may illuminate the hidden corners of hearts waiting to awaken. You will not go alone. I will go with you. I will go before you, and I will stand behind you. You need only step where I point, and I will do the rest. My beloved child, in this season, you will begin to recognize something precious, that you are no longer afraid of new places, no longer shrinking from greater responsibilities, no longer doubting when I open doors you once never imagined you could walk through. You will find yourself more confident without pride, stronger without becoming rigid, more compassionate without becoming fragile. This is not a temporary shift. This is the true maturing of your spirit. You are becoming the person I saw from the very beginning, a soul that carries healing, a mind that knows it belongs to the light, a heart wide enough to receive and to give without fear of losing. From now on, everything you do will no longer affect only you. Your light is a gift to this world. Your peace is a shelter for those standing on shaky ground. Your love is a stream of refreshment for weary souls. Every gesture you make, every word you speak, every quiet action you take carries weight in the unseen realm. And once you understand this, you will begin to live each day with the awareness that you are sowing seeds whose life will grow far beyond what your eyes can see. This is the stage where I want you to learn how to operate in the blessing I have prepared, in the silent power I have placed within you, in the steady maturity that no longer depends on shifting feelings or changing circumstances, but rests on the unchanging foundation of my love. There is a great difference between hearing about blessing and actually living in it. Many hear that I bless, that I heal, that I protect, yet deep inside they still live like spiritual orphans, afraid, lacking, anxious about tomorrow, as though everything in life depends on their own striving. I do not want you to live that way, for you are not an abandoned soul on this earth. You are my child, marked with a heavenly imprint, covered by a love greater than every storm. Operating in blessing does not mean you will never face difficulties. It means that even in difficulty, you know you will not be consumed, that my love still surrounds you, that you do not fight with empty hands, that every lack, every challenge, every limitation becomes an opportunity for you to see me at work. Blessing is not only what you receive, it is the awareness of who you belong to in every situation. When your heart knows that it rests in my hands, You will stop living in resistance and tension, and begin living in a state of receiving and cooperating. You will stop seeing circumstances as enemies and begin to see them as paths I use to reveal the depth of my faithfulness. You will stop panicking when facing troubles with health, finances, relationships, or the future, because you remember that I have promised never to leave you, and my word never falls to the ground in vain. The power I placed within you is not loud, flashy, or attention-seeking. It is a quiet but persistent power, like underground water flowing beneath the soil, unheard yet nourishing entire fields. It is the power that keeps you standing when others fall, the power that preserves your peace when storms rise, the power that makes you choose gentleness when misunderstood, the power that enables you to believe when every fact stands against your faith. This power does not make you proud. It makes you humble, because you know it does not come from you but from the one who lives within you. When you understand this, you will stop running everywhere to find strength. Stop relying on temporary supports. Stop seeking safety and approval in numbers, in achievements. Instead, you will begin returning to the center to communion with me, because that is the source of every true blessing, the place where silent power is nourished day by day. My child, operating in blessing means waking each day with the awareness that you are living under cover, that every breath, every step, every opportunity, every door that opens or closes is held under divine orchestration. You will no longer pray like a trembling beggar before a distant deity, but like a child speaking with their father. You will no longer work like someone trying to save themselves, but like someone cooperating with the one who holds all of history. When you eat, you will know it is provision. When you rest, you will know you are being protected. When you face responsibility, you will know you are not carrying it alone. When you are hurt, you will know there is a place to return. These are not theories, they become experiences as you choose to trust and live according to what you trust. The maturity I am leading you into is not a dry hardness, nor a numb indifference to pain, but the ability to keep a soft heart in a harsh world, to keep gentle eyes in a hostile environment, to remain calm even when news, circumstances, and voices around you try to disturb your peace. Maturity is knowing that not everything that happens to you deserves a violent reaction. Not every word spoken by others requires your defense. Not every battle needs your involvement. Maturity is choosing what matters, discerning my voice from the noise, staying silent when necessary, speaking at the right moment, and entrusting the things beyond your reach to me. Maturity is when fear no longer leads you. Faith does, when your life is no longer about proving anything to anyone, but about reflecting kindness and faithfulness, when your energy is no longer wasted maintaining an image, but used for loving and building. I know there are still moments of hesitation within you. You wonder whether you truly deserve to live in the blessing I speak of, whether old mistakes still cling to you, whether old wounds will keep you from new opportunities. But my child, blessing does not come because you are perfect. It comes because I love. Protection does not come because you always do right. It comes because you belong to me. Healing does not come because you are worthy. It comes because I am the healer. What I look for is not a spotless record, but a heart willing to say, Father, I trust your love, even when I do not yet understand. When you say this, you open a door for my silent power to enter deeper, for living water to flow into places you have long tried to hide. In this season, I want you to practice something essential: consistency, not burning bright for a few days only to fade, not being fervent for a moment before returning to old patterns, but choosing, little by little, to stay connected to me in the smallest things. Consistency is like drops of water falling onto stone, not loud, but persistent, and over time it shapes deep impressions. In the same way, every simple prayer, every moment you pause to remember that I am near, every time you choose peace over argument, every time you reject a self-diminishing thought and replace it with what I have spoken, these accumulate and form in you an inner strength nothing can steal. Remember, I do not call you to live in fear of tragedy, sickness, or failure. I call you to live in the awareness that no matter what happens, you remain in my hands. This does not make you careless. It teaches you to live alert without anxiety. You care for your body, guard your mind, choose what is good, and practice discipline not out of fear, but out of love for the gift I have given you. You pray not because you panic, but because you need connection, because you need to remember again and again that you were never meant to carry life alone. As you learn to operate in blessing, in the quiet power, in the maturity I have given you, you will notice something beautiful, that in the eyes of the world, you may appear ordinary more than ever. Yet inside, you carry an entirely different realm, a realm of peace, of trust, of silent strength, of wide compassion, and it is this very reality that will make your life the answer for many around you who are weary and searching for a way out. You do not need to try to shine. The light will flow naturally when you remain in me. My beloved child, I want to lead you deeper into the foundation that will sustain such a life each day. And that is the continuous rhythm of prayer, the living communion between your soul and me, not as a heavy ritual, not as a dry obligation or rigid pattern, but as natural as breathing, as intimate as a conversation between a child and a father, as simple as returning home after a long day to rest, to lay down every burden, to know you are loved no matter how chaotic the world outside becomes. There were moments when you thought prayer was something reserved for special times, for moments of weakness, for seasons of crisis, or when facing major decisions. But I want you to know that your soul needs prayer the way your body needs air. That when you pray, you are not speaking into an empty space, but touching my heart. That every whisper, every sigh, every tear, every quiet moment you spend sitting before me is a form of prayer that heaven treasures. I do not ask you to bring polished words, long speeches, or complex formulas. What I seek from you is sincerity, a heart unhidden, the courage to tell me what you truly think, truly feel, truly fear, truly desire, truly long for, truly struggle with, even the things you hesitate to say to anyone else, because I am the one who is never overwhelmed by your honesty, never threatened by your questions or confusion, never distant when you break, never silent because you are weak. In truth, the moments when you are most bare are the moments I come closest. When you sit down, release your grip on everything, and breathe even a small sentence. Father, I am here. Please be with me. My presence covers you immediately, even when you do not feel anything unusual, like a soft blanket around a tired soul, like cool water flowing through a dry desert, like a hand gently resting upon the place your heart trembles to speak of. I want you to grow accustomed to turning your heart toward me in the most ordinary moments when you wake. Instead of allowing worry to rise first, let gratitude be the first sound from your lips, even a whisper as small as thank you. Father, for another day to live, to love, to be transformed. can redirect the entire trajectory of your day. When you step into your work, speak within your heart. Guide me to do what is right. Help me walk with integrity. When you eat, remember that every bite is a mark of my care. When you move along familiar roads, quietly say, "Thank you for the simple things I once overlooked." And when night comes, lay your head not upon anxiety, but upon rest, with a simple sentence, "Father, whatever today has been, I place it in your hands. Keep me through the night." These small acts, practiced daily, weave together into a spiritual shelter that covers your soul, and you will slowly realize that you are no longer living as someone pushed forward by life, but as someone walking with the Father, each step meaningful, each breath connected, each moment filled with presence. Prayer is not only the time when you speak, it is also the time when you learn to be silent so you can listen. Many times you have poured out everything in your heart and then quickly returned to the rush of your day before allowing yourself to grow still enough to notice that I, too, wanted to speak to you. I do not fault you for this, but I want you to learn the profound beauty of quietness in prayer, the ability to sit still, to settle your thoughts, to release the need to fill every space with words, so there is room for the gentle whisper within, a whisper that often does not arrive in clear sentences, but in a deep sense of peace, a soft certainty, a quiet clarity about what you should do or should stop doing, a patient nudge that is never hurried, never forceful, but firm in its direction. You will gradually learn to distinguish the voice of anxiety from the voice of doubt, the voice of self-criticism from the voice that comes from me. For my voice never pushes you into fear, never corners you, never makes you feel worthless. My voice may correct you, but it always carries hope. It may touch your vulnerable places, but it always invites you to rise, return, begin again, and walk with me, my child. Prayer is not something you do only for yourself. Every time you think of someone and lift them to me, every time you say, "Father," touch them, strengthen them, comfort them, let them know they are not abandoned. You are anchoring an invisible thread between heaven and earth. You are becoming a bridge through which blessing flows. You are allowing my love to travel into places your feet cannot go, to reach people you cannot embrace with your arms, to heal wounds hidden deep in hearts that you see only from the outside. Praying for others does not diminish you, it enlarges you. It frees you from the narrow space of self-focus. It lets you taste the joy of becoming a channel instead of merely a container. When you intercede for someone else, you are not only helping them, you are also being healed yourself. For love is always medicine for the soul. Never think your prayers are too small for me to hear, nor think that the things you ask regarding your health, mind, emotions, or future are insignificant. I care for every detail of your life, from the things you call sacred to the things you call ordinary. When you say, "Keep me in peace," I hear. When you say, "Help me release this anger," I hear. When you whisper, "Help me sleep in rest," I hear. When you cry, "I am so tired," I hear even more. So do not hesitate to come to me in every state of your soul. Let your prayer life be free from rigid forms and instead be led by sincerity, by simple faith, by the awareness that you are speaking with the one who knows you more deeply than you know yourself. When you allow prayer to become your rhythm of breathing and living, you will see the fears that once clung to you slowly retreat, the chaos in your mind gently reordered, The inner battles become less relentless, and even if nothing outside changes immediately, within you a field of peace will have been formed that nothing can touch. That is the land I am building for you, the place you can return to at any moment, the place where, no matter how loud the world becomes, there is still a space that belongs to you and me alone, just father and child, where every wound is soothed, every worry laid down, every inner struggle released, so that you can keep walking on, not in your own strength, but in the quiet power of my love covering your life. Beloved child, after I have taught you to walk in blessing, to live in the silent power I have placed inside you, and to keep the rhythm of prayer as the very breath of your soul, now I want to lead you to an even deeper place, where all these things no longer stand apart as separate pieces, but merge into one single current flowing through your life, a current both sacred and profoundly everyday, where every thought, every choice, every way you care for your body, every way you treat others, every small reaction to events becomes your response to the love with which I am surrounding this world. Child, faith does not only live in the hour of prayer, blessing does not only appear in moving moments, and maturity is not only expressed in the words you write or your hidden reflections. All of these must become flesh and blood in your daily life. They must enter your meals, your sleep, your work, your relationships, your habits, the way you speak about yourself, the way you face fear, uncertainty, and the days that seem meaningless. I do not want you to keep faith like a coat you only wear on Sundays and put away the rest of the week. I want faith to become like the very skin that covers you, something that cannot be separated from you. I do not want blessing to be only a word you mention in spiritual conversations. I want you to taste it in the smallest things you once called ordinary. I do not want prayer to appear only when you are in crisis. I want it to become the road you walk every day, until you no longer distinguish between the time of prayer and the time of living, because the two have become one. Every action you take, no matter how small, can become an extension of prayer if it flows from a heart turned toward me. When you choose to care for your body by resting at the right time, eating what is wholesome, drinking water with a grateful heart, breathing deeply and being aware that each breath is a gift, you are telling me that you honor the gift I have given. When you decide to let go of habits that drain your strength, reduce what fills your mind with turmoil, loosen your grip on things you know do not bring life, you are once again saying, I agree to let you lead me on a better path. When you forgive someone who has hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to let your soul live in the narrow room of resentment, you are turning your prayer for healing into a concrete act. When you choose not to speak a cutting word even though you are in the right, when you hold back an outburst of anger and replace it with gentler speech, you are carrying out what you once prayed to become gentle, to resemble me a little more. Prayer without corresponding action is only a sentence left unfinished, and action not nourished by prayer easily becomes a burdensome morality. I want you to step into a place where your words and your deeds sing the same song, so that heaven and earth meet within your very life. Child, I also want you to look again at the way you speak about yourself, because more than once you have used words like arrows turned inward toward your own soul. You have called yourself inadequate, useless, a failure, unworthy. You have repeated your past mistakes as if they were your true name. You have allowed harsh words from others to become your inner voice and then believed that was the truth. But my child, do not forget that I have already said you are loved, chosen, kept, wonderfully made, destined for good plans, and covered by grace, and my word is always the final word. Therefore, from today, I want you to practice speaking differently, not with empty self-affirmations, but by agreeing with what I have declared. When you say, I am being healed, even while your body is still in pain, you are opening a path for life to flow in. When you say, I am loved, even though today I feel weak, you are resisting the lying voice that wants you to believe you are abandoned. When you say, I will not live in fear, because the Father goes with me, you are letting faith speak louder than fear. When you say, I am grateful for the small things, you are softening the soil of your own heart so that the seeds of blessing can take deep root. The words you speak do not only touch the ears of others. First of all, they touch your own soul. And when the soul is soaked in words that build up, bathed in the truth I proclaim, it will gradually rise out of the barren ground of self-blame, shame, and inferiority. I know there are times you look at the world around you and see so much brokenness, sickness, war, injustice, misunderstanding, jealousy, betrayal, and you wonder whether your small efforts, your quiet prayers, your seemingly insignificant acts of love can really change anything. You feel like a drop of water in a vast sea, like a lone ray of light in a thick night. But my child, I want you to engrave this: no drop of water is meaningless when it helps soothe a thirst. And no ray of light is useless when it manages to break even a small corner of the darkness. Do not let the size of the problem paralyze you. Let it become the reason you remain faithful in your small portion. When you care for someone who is hurting, when you listen to a person in tears, when you intercede for another, when you choose to keep a gentle heart in a harsh environment, you are not merely trying to be good, you are stepping into my flow, the stream that longs to heal this world little by little through each heart that dares to open. The blessing I desire to pour over humanity rarely arrives as loud events. It comes in the form of ordinary people living ordinary days, yet carrying within themselves an extraordinary peace. Beloved child, allow joy to return to your life. There have been stretches of road where you walked with a weary soul, like someone merely trying to survive. There have been long periods where you knew only of responsibilities, burdens, and things that must be done, and you forgot that I am also the one who gives joy. I did not create you to live in a constant gray gloom. I want you to know how to smile, to savor the beauty I have placed around you, to cherish a quiet morning, a clear sky, a cool breeze, a blooming flower, a hug, a compassionate glance, a simple meal filled with love. When you open your heart to gratitude and allow this simple joy to flow again, you are telling me that you still believe life is worth living, that you still believe I am at work, that darkness is not the only thing that exists. This joy is not a forced laughter to hide sadness, but a smile that grows out of faith that even though many questions remain unanswered, there is still one who does not change. There is still a love that surrounds you. There is still a future not limited by what your eyes can see. I invite you to step into the days ahead with a lighter heart, lighter because you have begun to lay down burdens that were never truly yours to carry. Lighter because you now know you do not have to save yourself. Lighter because you are beginning to see that blessing is not something distant and unreachable, but a stream flowing through every moment in which you live in prayer, in gratitude, in caring for yourself, in loving others, and in trusting me even in what you do not yet understand. You do not know what your future holds, but you know who is holding it. You cannot foresee every turn in the road, but you know which hand is leading you. You cannot guarantee that pain will never come, but you can be certain that not one tear will fall outside my sight. Therefore, keep praying, keep believing, keep walking in gentleness, keep honoring the body that I have chosen as my temple. Keep speaking words that carry life. Keep sowing the small seeds of love wherever you go. And day by day, you will realize that you are living in the very miracle you once thought was only a faraway promise. The miracle of a soul kept in the midst of storms. A heart still tender despite many blows. A life that remains luminous amid deep darkness. And this is precisely the blessing I promised you from the very beginning. My child, I want to sit with you in a place very deep and very quiet, like a father and child falling silent together just before a long journey turns a new page. This is the moment I want to bind with you, a covenant in your heart, not through outward rituals, but through a silent yet powerful agreement within your spirit that from this point on, you will no longer live as someone who is merely trying to hang on, but as one who knows to whom you belong, where you are going, and what you are living for. That you will no longer see your life as a string of random events, but as a story being told by the wise hand of your Creator, where no chapter is redundant, no passage is meaningless, and no line is forgotten. I know there have been times when you looked back over the road behind you with eyes full of regret or self-pity. You saw countless unfinished things, opportunities you thought were lost, decisions that brought you pain, relationships that left you shattered, years passing by while you had no clear idea where you were heading. There were nights you lay down feeling as if you were walking in circles, as though your life was going nowhere. There were moments when your soul sighed, "If only, I wish," and then fell silent again because you knew nobody could answer those empty spaces. But today, my child, I want you to listen very carefully to this. I was present in every single moment, even in the seasons when you felt my absence most deeply, even when you chose the wrong path, even when you walked into dead ends, even when fear and woundedness were the ones leading you. I was still there, never letting you slip from my hand, never letting you fall into nothingness, never allowing your story to end in a hopeless corner. I did not encourage your wrong choices, but I did not abandon you because of them. I did not desire your wounds, but I have used those very wounds to open in you a depth you could never have reached without them. From this moment on, I want you to begin looking at your life through different eyes, no longer through the fog of blame, comparison, and regret, but with the gaze of someone sitting in the palm of their Father's hand, allowed to look back over the whole journey with gentleness, with gratitude, with the ability to recognize, "You have never left me." I want you to look again at the years that seemed barren and realize that it was in those very days your roots were growing deeper into my presence. I want you to revisit your broken places and understand that through them you learned how to truly empathize with others. I want you to recall the nights when you could not even cry out loud, and see that each tear watered the soil of your soul, softening the areas that had turned to stone. I want you to remember the stretches of road you walked seemingly alone and discover that you were never truly solitary at all. You were learning to hear my footsteps in the silence. And I also want you to remember the simple moments, those meals that seemed repetitive, the little things that made you suddenly laugh, the times you wrapped your arms around someone without saying a word, the days you worked in an ordinary way, but your heart was at peace. I want you to see that blessing is not only found in spectacular events, but is quietly weaving its way through the smallest folds of your daily life, places you have often overlooked. My child, When you begin to view your life like this, you will stop asking, "Why did everything happen this way?" and begin to ask, "How can I move forward with all that has happened, knowing that my Father is here?" That question will not drag you into a pit of resentment. It will lead you into a field of partnership, where your past is no longer a chain, but material in my hands, where you are no longer imprisoned in what has been, but invited into what is new with a heart lighter, wider, and more mature. Child, I want you to understand that as you step into this new phase, the most important thing is not how many big things you accomplish, but how you choose to live in the seemingly simple rhythms of your days. I do not wait for you to produce grand plans to prove you are using your life well. I look at the way you meet each day. Do you allow your heart to drown in anxiety? Or do you choose trust and hand over to me the burdens too heavy for you? Do you continue speaking harshly to yourself? Or do you begin to speak with the voice of grace? Do you let fear of sickness, disaster, failure, and loss occupy your every thought? Or do you let faith speak up and remind you that whatever happens, you remain held in arms that never let you go? Do you use your pain to build walls? Or do you turn it into a bridge that brings you nearer to those whose wounds resemble yours? Do you live like someone who must constantly protect themselves, always defensive, always suspicious? Or do you dare to shed your hardened shell and let me be the wall of fire around you, the one who defends your name, the one who fights the battles you do not need to fight? I do not demand that you never fear, never grow tired, never waver. I simply invite you that whenever those feelings rise, come back, look up, and whisper in your heart, "I am not walking alone. I have a Father." And that alone is enough to open a small doorway for peace to enter. In this new chapter, I want you to live with the awareness that your time on this earth is not endless, not to frighten you, but to teach you to cherish each day as a gift. So you will stop wasting your thoughts on pointless arguments. Stop losing yourself in empty competitions. Stop piling up things that cannot cross the threshold into eternity. I want you to learn the art of slowing down on the inside even while the outside still moves quickly, so you are not dragged away by urgency, so you do not lose who you are amidst to-do lists, so you do not abandon your own soul while trying to satisfy everyone else. Remember this: no one but me has the right to define your worth. No achievement, no failure, no praise, and no criticism has the authority to decide whether you are worthy of love. That was settled long ago, when I thought of you before you ever existed, and chose to love you, to call you by name, to pay the price, to keep you. What you do in these years is not to purchase my love, but to respond to the love already given. It is to allow that love to pass through you and touch others. My beloved child, even the things you still fear are not beyond my control. I know your heart still trembles sometimes when you think of sickness, of unexpected shocks, of death, of separation, of crises you cannot predict. I do not deny those fears, nor do I mock you for being fragile. I only want you to know that I have already stepped into that fragile reality with you. I do not promise that your body will never hurt, but I do promise that your soul will never be abandoned in darkness. I do not promise you will never face gloomy days, but I promise that at the deepest point of night, there will always be a flame within you that cannot be extinguished. That flame is my presence. I am not saying that every bad thing will be removed from your life, but I am telling you that with me, no bad thing is ever final. I can turn pages soaked in tears into the opening lines of a new chapter of hope. I can use even the ruins to rebuild you on a truer, deeper, stronger foundation. Therefore, my child, I am not calling you to live in fear. I am calling you to live in trust, trust that whatever may come, I remain your Father. I remain faithful. I keep my word. I stay near. I hold you close. And I continue transforming what no one can make sense of into grace for your soul. I want you to let the road ahead no longer be a string of days where you keep wrestling with what if, suppose that, maybe. Instead, let it become a season where you train your heart to whisper, Father knows, Father sees, Father takes care, Father leads. Let what once made you shrink back become the very place where you open yourself more deeply to me. Let what once made you tremble become the ground on which you practice standing upon my promises. Let what once paralyzed you become the place where you take even the smallest step forward. And when you look back, you will realize that within those tiny steps, a quiet miracle has been unfolding. You are no longer the person you were yesterday. You are growing, changing, moving closer to the image I dreamed of when I formed you. And, my child, as you read these words, I want you to know that I am smiling at you not because you have achieved anything grand, but because you are still here, still listening, still allowing your heart to respond to my call. That alone is enough for me to continue writing your story with grace, with patience, with an unending tenderness. Let me walk with you all the way to the end, for I have never intended to leave anything unfinished. And if you agree, this will be the beginning of a new chapter, one in which every day, whether ordinary or stormy, becomes your answer to my eternal whisper, I love you, and I will not leave you. My child, today I want to take your hand and lead you a little further into a place where you not only accept the story that has passed, but dare to step into the new chapter with a wide open heart, fully aware that every day you live is a page I place in your hands for us to write together. I am not asking you to forget what once caused you pain. I am not requiring you to pretend to be stronger than you feel. I am simply inviting you to look forward not with the eyes of someone constantly bracing for the worst, but with the gaze of one who knows they are covered, guided, and held through every change. I know there are still echoes of fear inside you, especially the fear of your fragile body, of sudden illness, of unpredictable disasters, of losses that may come without warning. And because I know those fears are real, I am not asking you to pretend they don't exist. I am teaching you how to live in such a way that fear is no longer the one steering your life, no longer the voice deciding your path, but is slowly giving way to trust that grows day by day. You may still feel a pang of worry when you hear bad news, still feel your heart tighten when imagining outcomes you dread, still sense that familiar rise of anxiety in moments of uncertainty. But, my child, each time that happens, rather than condemning yourself for being weak, see it as an invitation to return to me. Close your eyes for a moment, breathe deeply, and whisper in your heart, Father, I am afraid, but I know you are here. In that very moment, even though no dramatic miracle appears, a quiet shift begins. Fear steps down from the throne, and I gently place my hand on your shoulder to remind you that I am the one holding the wheel of your life. Knowing that you may fall sick, face accidents, or encounter things outside your control does not mean you must spend the rest of your life in constant tension. I did not give you awareness of human frailty so you would live in dread. I gave it so you would cherish the present, so you would care for yourself tenderly. Use your time to love more, forgive more, live more truthfully, rather than bury each day in endless calculations, comparisons, and anxieties. When I warn you about danger, it is not to frighten you, it is to awaken you, to help you let go of what is harming your soul and your body, to help you choose what brings life. I know there were times you skipped meals, overworked yourself, stayed up too late, fed your body things that drained you, spoke harshly to yourself, or carried resentment for far too long. All these slowly created a toxic atmosphere in your body and soul. I do not want you to continue down that path, not because I need you to follow rules, but because I want you to live longer in peace, to have strength to accomplish what you were born to do, to treat your body the earthly home I crafted for your soul, not as something to punish, but as something to honor. When I speak of possible dangers, I am not trying to increase fear. I am showing you that often the threats you face are not only external, they arise from the way you treat yourself. People imagine enemies as something far away, but sometimes the enemy hides in repetitive negative thoughts, in habits that nourish stress, in obsessions that rob you of true rest. I want you to understand that a large part of my protection begins with your cooperation in daily choices, choosing peace over pointless arguments, releasing a grudge to lighten your heart, stopping yourself before you spiral into envy, refusing to speak words that harm your own body, learning to pause before you burn out instead of trying to prove you are unbreakable. These may seem like small steps, but they are precisely the path that leads you out of emotional and mental danger, allowing the healing I send to flow freely, instead of being blocked by the walls you build around your heart. I also want to speak with you about how you listen to your body. Many times it has tried to cry for help through prolonged fatigue, sleepless nights, heaviness in your chest, shallow breaths, aches that come and go, but you either ignored it, scolded it for being weak, or drowned its signals by consuming more noise, more tasks, more distractions. I do not blame you. I know you believed that was the only way to survive. But now I am telling you this: your body is not your enemy. It is your faithful companion, sending signals so you will stop, care, and adjust your pace. I placed within you the ability to sense when something is wrong, and I want you to honor those alarms, not to scare you, but to help you realign your steps. Each time you dare to listen to your body, admit, "I am tired," ask for help, or give yourself rest, you are stepping into heavenly wisdom. You are partnering with me in protecting yourself from dangers that could have been prevented long before they grew large. I want to touch one more hidden place within you, the way you face the thought of death. I know that even hearing that word has, many times, stirred up in you a nameless fear, an uneasiness that wraps around your heart, as if everything you love could slip out of your hands at any moment. I do not come to deny that emotion, for it is part of the finiteness you carry, but I want to gently take that fear and place it inside a wider frame. If you look at life only through what happens on this earth, then death will always appear as the most terrifying enemy. But if you recognize that your soul was created for a reality beyond time's limits, you will see that death is no longer a final ending, but a doorway. This does not mean you must long for it, nor does it mean you should dismiss the sorrow of loss. What I want to give you is the assurance that even on the day your body ceases to breathe, your soul will still be held in my arms, and no force, not even death, can separate you from my love. When that truth sinks deeply into your heart, the obsessive fear loosens its grip, and you begin to live the present more fully, knowing your ultimate future is already safe. For that reason, I do not want the rest of your earthly days to be spent building layers of defense around yourself. I want you to use that time to love, to build, to sow beauty that continues living even after you are gone. Every smile you offer, every word of encouragement you speak, every prayer you lift on behalf of another, every act that softens pain, every moment you choose gentleness over harshness, each of these is part of the spiritual legacy you leave behind. The world thinks legacy is built from wealth, reputation, or grand achievements, but in my kingdom, legacy is what is done from love, from faithfulness, from trust that shines even on the darkest days. Perhaps no one will carve your name on stone, but in the unseen realm, every small act you do glows like a star, and not one of them is forgotten. My child, when you understand this, you will become gentler with yourself. You will realize that you do not need to accomplish something great for your life to hold meaning. You only need to live each day with the awareness that you and I are weaving goodness together. You will begin to cherish the moments you have instead of constantly chasing what has not yet come. You will spend time with your loved ones as if each moment were a gift. Instead of letting your mind wander into dark possibilities, you will learn to let the past rest without letting it imprison you, and to entrust the future to me without letting it haunt you. Between those two places, the past and the future, is the present moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this very instant as you read my words. And here, in this sacred now, you can choose to live differently, to fear less, trust more, open wider, love deeper, care for yourself more tenderly, and allow me to draw nearer. I am inviting you into a new way of living, where your greatest concern is no longer how to avoid every misfortune, but how to keep your heart anchored to me in every circumstance. When that shift happens, something strange and beautiful occurs. Fear of what has not yet happened grows weaker, while peace in the one who walks with you becomes clearer. You will still act responsibly toward your body, your choices, and your daily life. But that responsibility will no longer wear the color of panic. It will take on the color of reverence for the life I placed in you, for the gift of time, for your own soul. And from that reverence, new decisions will arise, not out of the anxiety that says, "What if disaster comes?" but out of love that whispers, "I want to live this part of my life as a thank you." If today you still feel many tremors inside, I do not blame you. I only ask that you do not hide them from me. Bring me every fear of sickness, every worry about accidents, every anxiety about the future, every worst-case scenario your mind can imagine. Lay them before me. Tell me how tired they have made you. Then let me slowly, gently lift them from your shoulders, the way a father removes a heavy backpack from a child who has walked too long. I do not promise that your worries will vanish instantly, but I promise this: from the moment you begin to surrender them, you will no longer carry them alone. I will walk beside you. I will remind you to stop when you start picking up old burdens again. I will remind you to breathe when you forget you are still alive in this present moment. I will remind you to look around and see that even in a world full of shadows, there is still so much light. And I will remind you that at the end of every fear, there is always a hand extended toward you, my hand. My beloved, I want to lead you into a place you have rarely dared to enter, the land of complete surrender. Not surrender as in giving up, or abandoning yourself, or saying nothing matters. No, surrender is when you still do your part, caring for your body, nurturing your mind, keeping a gentle heart, living with discipline and gratitude, while trusting that the final outcome does not rest in your small hands, but in the hands of the one who has seen every turning of your life since the beginning of time. I know one of the reasons you worry so much is because you have carried responsibilities that were never yours to carry. You believed you had to take care of everyone, hold the family together, endure the pressures of work, solve every problem, meet every expectation, always be strong, always be steady, always be composed, always have answers. But I never asked that of you. It was you or the voices of others, or the wounds from your past that convinced you that if you loosened your grip even a little, everything would fall apart. But, my child, let me ask you, do you see how exhausted you are? Do you realize how many things you've tried to shoulder that never belonged to you in the first place? Can you see that sometimes your effort to save everything by your own strength is what costs you the peace I long to give you? I did not create you to be the single pillar holding up the world around you. I created you to walk in communion with me where you do your small, faithful part, and I do the greater, heavier part with my inexhaustible power. And remember, this surrender is not a one-time act. It is a lifelong practice. There will be days you feel strong, trusting, filled with peace, and there will be days when the wind blows hard, emotions shake, old memories resurface, and anxiety slips into your breath and you find yourself wanting to take control again, to manage everything, to solve everything. I do not rebuke you for this. I know the human heart often clings to what is familiar, even to the fears that have drained it simply because freedom feels unfamiliar at first. But, my child, every time you catch yourself gripping too tightly, I ask only for one small sentence, Father. I am holding on too hard again. Teach me to surrender. One whisper is enough to open a crack in the darkness. Enough for the light to enter. Enough for me to take your hands and return them to the peace that has always belonged to you. Enough to calm the waves that threaten to pull your soul too far away. My beloved child, one of the greatest gifts I want to place in your hands in this final stretch is the ability to see life through the eyes of heaven without haste, without panic, without rivalry, without making success the ultimate measure, without letting failure define you, and without allowing the voices of others to speak louder than mine. I want you to learn the art of walking slowly in your spirit, even when the pace around you is fast, learning to find stillness in busy days, to find rest in the midst of responsibilities, to hear my voice among the countless sounds surrounding you. My child, under the same circumstance, the one who lives in fear will fall into exhaustion, but the one who lives in surrender will find a way through. Under the same trial, the one who struggles alone will collapse, but the one who places their hand in mine will find strength sufficient for the day. For surrender does not change what happens, but it changes the person facing what happens. And when you change, the life before you also begins to change. Surrender is always tied to simplicity. Simplicity is not naivety, nor is it ignorance. It is the purity of a soul that knows it does not need to complicate everything to prove its worth. Simplicity is when you truly believe that peace does not require grand conditions. It can come from drinking a quiet glass of water, from taking a few deep breaths that remind your body it is not under threat, from whispering a short prayer with an open heart, from forgiving someone in silence, from telling yourself, "Today, I will live more gently." Simplicity is when you stop fighting yourself every day and begin walking alongside yourself with kindness, when you stop overjudging, stop tiring your own heart, stop imprisoning your soul in the unreachable cage of perfection. Child, every time you choose to surrender even a little, you are building a stronger foundation for your soul. Every time you sit still for a few minutes to remember me, you draw a small path that leads your soul home. Every time you stop speaking harshly to yourself, you remove another invisible chain. Every time you place your fear into my hands, you push back the darkness a little more. Every time you choose love over bitterness, you open a wider door for light to enter the world. And every time you exhale simply to say, I trust, you make possible what once seemed impossible. My beloved, the remainder of your life, whether long or short, is not a journey of fear, but a journey of growth. It is not a journey of trembling before darkness, but a journey of light expanding inside you. It is not a journey for you to merely survive, but a journey for you to experience my love with increasing clarity. I have kept you through the years. I am keeping you still, and I will continue to keep you. My love does not shift with the seasons, does not fluctuate with your emotions, and does not fade because of your mistakes. It is steadfast, enduring, deeper than you can imagine. And, my child, if there ever comes a day when you feel yourself slipping backward, remember this: I am not standing at the end of the road waiting for you to run to me. I walk with you in every step, even the trembling ones. I do not wait for you to become perfect before loving you. I love you so that you might slowly become the one I saw in you from the beginning of creation. Therefore, walk forward gently. Do not rush. Do not push yourself. Do not force clarity. Do not demand strength you do not have. Hold only one truth close: Father is here. When that sentence becomes your breath, every fear will fade. Every door will open at its appointed time. Every step will shine with guidance. And your soul will live in the freedom I intended for you from the very beginning. My child, I am here today, tomorrow, and throughout all eternity. Rest in this. Thank you for listening to today's message. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so we may continue receiving these living words together, building unshakable faith and walking daily in the boundless love of God. Amen.